You know, this whole crap with this cancel culture and the...
Shut up! Shit! Shut the fuck up! Nobody wants to hear it.
Fucker.
You've been talking all fucking week. You don't care what you have to say, just stop talking.
You got me right in my fucking head, asshole.
Stop.
Damn it.
And that there is exactly why you don't catch me messing around in snow. All right, guys, so before we actually get into this rant, let's go. Sorry, it's just, that's funny to me. Before we actually get into this rant, let's make sure that we go ahead and comment, like, and subscribe. What's up, everybody? Ty Rivera here, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world. Okay, so a friend of mine named Sean Halpin shared that on his Instagram, and I thought it was absolutely hilarious. I don't know if it's real or not, but to me, it is hilarious. MichaelRapaport, I've heard some cool things about him because I know some comedians that have worked with him because he's been working his way around the stand-up comedy scene. But I personally get tired of him and all his opinions, and I find his voice annoying. So I could imagine that if I were one of his neighbors, it would just get like, can you please shut up? And one day you just had it and you grab a handful of snow and you're like, let me just snowball this motherfucker real quick. And so I get it. I definitely do get it. And then when it comes to the Whoopi Goldberg situation, because it says on his page that that was a Whoopi rant gone wrong. And I felt like I got where he was going with that because I feel like it's gotten a bit carried away with the cancel culture too. Like, I get why cancel culture kind of was important for a minute just to kind of make sure people knew that somebody was watching. But now it's just gotten so ridiculous because a lot of us didn't know that Jewish was even considered a race. And I know that because I've educated myself since hearing Whoopi's words, because I wanted to find out what the thing was about. I always thought of it as just white on white crime. And I'm going to be honest, when it comes to the Holocaust, I was just kind of like, white on white crime. When I was growing up and I would hear things about Jewish people and German people, I was always like, why do these white people hate each other? And I didn't know the history of it. I didn't know that Hitler considered it to be a race. And so when it comes to situations like this, and you're dealing with a lot of people of color that maybe do come from the same place Whoopi comes from and the same place that I come from, just in seeing things as being, when it comes to race, you're either brown or you're white. And that's the way a lot of people see it in this country. And I was listening to Ben Shapiro earlier because I listened to a lot of different people, and he explained it pretty well.
I mean, the simple fact of the matter is that Hitler obviously treated the Jews as a race. He explicitly said they're not a religion, they are a race. The Nuremberg laws were directed against Jews as an ethnicity. And it really is only in the very, very modern era that people have started to lump in Jews with white people. For the vast majority of history, Jews were considered their own ethnic group. Not only were they considered their own ethnic group, they were barred from places like country clubs in many parts of the United States.
But he also was on the side of, he hates Whoopi Goldberg, he hates The View. And whenever you hate somebody or you're really just intent on calling people stupid,
trying to suss out which person on The View is least intelligent is an exercise in quantum mechanics.
Because believe me, Whoopi Goldberg has said a lot of things that I don't necessarily agree with, especially when it comes to politics. But I still wouldn't dismiss her or pretty much anybody else as just being stupid. Like, there's just certain things that a lot of us haven't been educated on. And when it comes to things like that and Jewish issues specifically, if you're not Jewish, then you don't know the history of a lot of things. And that's where, for me, it's more of a teachable moment than a cancelable moment. And I know that Whoopi has been suspended from The View for 2 weeks. And some people said that she doubled down when she was talking to Stephen Colbert.
As a black person, I think of race as being something that I can see. So I see you and I know what race you are. And the discussion was about how I felt about that. I felt that it was really more about man's inhumanity to man and how horrible people can be to people. And we're seeing it manifest itself.
And I don't think she was doubling down. I think she was just explaining what her point of view was. She gave a full apology where she said that she was sorry, she stands with Jewish people, and she'll continue to stand with Jewish people. And when somebody is willing to just come out and say, okay, I'm sorry, I said the wrong thing, I hadn't realized, I've since been educated, I don't know what else we're really looking for from them. Now, to me, rather than suspending her for 2 weeks, I think this is the best time for somebody from maybe the Anti-Defamation League to come on The View and educate her in front of everybody. And I don't mean give her a dressing down. I mean just let her know exactly where it is they're coming from, where it is the Jewish people are coming from, or more specifically, the Jewish people that got offended by her words. And then we all get educated at once. Then we're like, okay, now I see what you're talking about. I think most people are open to listening to what other people have to say. I just don't think that a lot of people are given a proper chance. And then when you set it up where it's like you either agree with us or you agree with them, then that's where I think it becomes a little bit of a sticky situation, because then you're trying to force people or punish people into thinking what they're supposed to think, instead of just educating them and letting them actually know where you're coming from. And I do find, in my experience, being a person of color and gay, LGBT, however you want to put it, I do find that if I talk to people politely and I explain to them where I'm coming from, usually I can get through to them just a little bit. And that's all you need, is that door open just a little bit. And then later on, because they may not say what you want them to say in the moment, they may not see things exactly the way you want them to see them in that very moment, but maybe you give them a little while, let them actually mull it over, let it marinate, as some would say, and then before you know it, they have made the change mentally that you need them to make. Because I think when you punish people into doing things, you may get them to say what they're supposed to say, but they don't necessarily understand the meaning behind the words. They don't necessarily understand the point that you were trying to make. So once you give them that opportunity, that's when I feel like the real education happens. And that's when I feel like the real change happens, the substantive change, the change that you actually want. Because you see that happen quite a bit with people of color. Just people will say the right things. And I don't want to pick sides right here, and I'm not trying to come down on anybody. But a lot of times with liberal people, they'll say all of the right things that they're supposed to say. But then when you actually get into their thinking, when you actually talk to them, you realize that they really don't understand what it is they're saying. And they will say offensive things sometimes. Like I remember when the whole thing was happening with Donald Trump. If you don't know, I personally voted for Donald Trump. And a lot of people didn't understand how I, as a Mexican man, as a Latino, Mexican American more specifically, could vote for Donald Trump. And liberal people were very mad at me about this. And there were actually liberal people literally telling me almost on a daily basis, well, wait until he builds the wall and your family ends up on the other side. Wait until he builds the wall and your family has to go back to Mexico. And I'm like, my family isn't from Mexico. I mean, like, yeah, my great grandparents and grandparents are in Mexico, but everybody that's still alive in my family was born in the United States. We're all United States citizens. So I don't really know what anybody means when they say that my family is going to end up going back if Donald Trump ended up getting his way. So that's what I mean by, a lot of times you'll have people that think they're really educated, they think they're really woke, but when you really dig into that thinking, they don't really understand the dynamics of what it is they supposedly stand for. They don't really understand what it is they're saying. And I do think that the apology that Whoopi gave told me, at least, that she's probably on the right road to understanding what it is everybody wants her to understand. And if you would just give her a little bit of space and also maybe just a little bit more education. So like I said, she fully understands and the picture's fully been painted. Because what I was going to say about Ben Shapiro is he really did explain it on his show in a good way.
There's no question that the Germans saw the Jews as a separate race. So did the French, by the way, right? Which is why the Dreyfus Affair was a thing. So Whoopi Goldberg is ignorant. No question. I mean, what she's saying is full-scale stupid. It's ignorant. I mean, this is a direct quote from Hitler in Mein Kampf. Quote, "Is not their very existence founded on one great lie, namely that they are a religious community, whereas in reality, they are a race." Hitler's big thing was that he liked to call Jews a race of parasites.
Even though I would get rid of the parts where he says how stupid she is and how racist she is and this is how the left is, and a lot of finger pointing I think and I hope that in the coming years, we're going to get past a lot of that, because I think we could all learn a lot more if we would just talk to each other, if we would just show each other some respect, instead of constantly falling to, you're so stupid, you don't get it, you're right, I don't get it. That doesn't necessarily mean I'm stupid. I may be ignorant by definition. I may not be educated on certain things, which is what ignorant is. But at the same time, if you call somebody ignorant, then they're not going to listen to you. And a lot of times people don't understand that either. When you call somebody stupid, a lot of times you'll make all of your great points right after you call them stupid. And so you've made all your great points, and in their head, they're just thinking, wait, let's get back to the part where you called me stupid. So all I'm saying is, I'm not defending Whoopi's words in what she originally said when she said,
This is white people doing it to white people.
Yeah.
So this is, y'all go fight amongst yourselves.
and then she said,
The Holocaust isn't about race.
No.
No, it's not about
maybe
race.
ethnicity.
Well, they
No,
consider
it's
Jews
about
a different race.
But it's not about race. It's not about
Well,
race.
what is it about?
Because it's about man's inhumanity to man. That's what it's about.
and that's apparently what everybody was so upset about. And like I said, a lot of us saw it that way up until just recently. So maybe let's give each other some room to learn and stop just jumping right away to, you need to lose your job, you need to be fired, and let's stay out of the snow and do our rants indoors. Like, that's why I'm inside right now, because of what happened to MichaelRapaport. No, nobody's pelting me with any snow. Anyway, let me know what you guys think down below in the comments. This has been Ty Rivera, the absolute best LGBTQ comedian in the world.